Hello and welcome to Terraria 1.0.6. Yes, the new patch has in fact been released, and this changelog is just absolutely devastatingly long. It's crazy. I don't even know where to start. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to give you a quick piece in this video. Okay, so a short little piece, I promise, where I'm going to go over my favorite or the biggest changes that I see here. And then after that, I'm going to go through every single change. So if you don't want to go and read the patch notes for yourself, you can just listen to this, put it on in the background while you're having a look at the new patch, while you're logged in there, and just listen to it all, basically. You can hear some thoughts of mine on there as well, just about all the changes, because there are a lot of them. Okay, I'm just warning you right now. If you go and look at those patch notes, beware. So, I'm just going to go through them now. You can find them on terrariaonline.com. That's it. That's the website's name. And I'm sure you'll find them on Steam soon too. But I'm going to go through them and just have a look what I think is really big. So, starting with these first few. There are new enemies here. NPC additions. A spiked ball and a blazing wheel. These two are both immortal enemies. I'd absolutely love to know what that means. Well, I do know what immortal means, obviously. But I'd love... are there some sort of trap? Maybe in the dungeon? I don't know. Then there's a new dungeon slime. These contain golden keys, and I'll talk about keys in just a second. Then there's also a goblin scout. So, going down the list, let's have a look. There's a lot of changes, okay? So going through all of these would be silly. Well, I'm silly, so I did actually go through all of them. You'll be able to hear them all after this, but I said that already. Lava slimes no longer spawn lava when killed. That's great. It's absolutely amazing. One thing that I found pretty big was NPCs' furniture requirements have been changed to work with new items. NPCs now require one comfort item. That's things like a chair, throne, bench, bed, or toilet. Yes. Why would they add toilets to Terraria? Anyway, I suppose they make it more realistic. And then one flat surface furniture. That's like a table, dresser, workbench, tub, bookcase, etc. They need those before they'll make it their home. So that's interesting. Just a bit more depth there, I guess. Another change here that I think is really cool. Thorns are now destroyed after you touch them and receive damage. That's good. Then let's see. Going down further. Boring. Then, new items. Okay, this is obviously huge. There are a ton of new items. There's keys, a shadow key and a golden key. They open both the shadow chests and golden chests. Quite cool. New wall backgrounds for obsidian and mud. That's nice as well. Then there's a battle standard, which I found was pretty big. Allows for manual starting of the goblin invasion event. That's really cool. You don't need to wait for that to randomly come anymore. Then there's a bunch of vanity items here, like a ton. Pianos, benches, dressers, bathtubs, lots of banners, tiki torches. I'm not going to go through all of these. It's absolutely amazing. Like, there's a ton of stuff. There's a loom now, which is a crafting station for cloth type stuff. I think at the moment just for silk cloth, but still, there's obviously going to come more in the future. Then a lot more vanity items. Vanity. A safe, which is separate from the piggy bank, and it's apparently private storage. I don't know what that means. I assume no one can open it besides you, but I think that was the case with the piggy bank anyway. Who knows? Then more vanity. Okay, so interesting. Wooden tables, doors, and workbenches now have improved looking graphics. You might have seen those already from the little picture, the 1.0.6 picture. They do look quite cool now. Then going further down, one big change here. Grappling hooks can no longer be spam shot. You have to actually wait for the previous shot to land or return before you can shoot it again. Oh my goodness. I'm telling you now that this whole patch is actually making the game a lot harder to play. I actually can't wait to play it. Terraria is not going to take you, if you start again now, it's not just going to be a quick run through a couple of hours till you've maxed out. It's going to be difficult. I'll tell you why, because there's a lot more stuff that they actually changed here to make things more difficult. So these are just my thoughts on a few of these things. Then, let's see. Suspicious looking eyes will now sometimes be found in chests. Not sure what that is. Then pretty big is ashen mud will no longer fall due to gravity. Hellstone no longer produces light and is more rare. It's going to be more difficult to find, and there's less of it. And now it also spawns lava when it's mined, so that's absolutely crazy. Then potions now offer less HP on use, and their cooldown is now 1 minute. Yes, I'm giving you a moment of silence because that's crazy. It's going to be so difficult to stay. Imagine that. You're usually in boss fights, you're like spamming that potion key like crazy, using them all the time. Anyway, okay. Then another thing I find pretty big is you can now place background walls more easily. And flails have a new mechanic. You can now spin them like you would a flail. That's pretty interesting. Let's have a look. All placed backgrounds on our considered house walls. That's pretty good as well. They are, let's see, 2 of the same type of accessory can no longer be equipped, so those guys with the feral claw stuck in, you can't do that anymore. And now a pretty big change, armors are now more class type specific. And yes, if you listen to this part, by the way, and then you listen to the changes at the end, you're going to get doubles. So I'll put a little annotation somewhere to be able to skip to the other changes if you want to just do that. But anyway, carrying on. Class type, that's interesting. Molten armor buffs magic damage, and the set bonus is the space gun has 0 mana cost. I think it was that before anyway, but whatever. Molten armor set bonus is melee damage, nothing else there. Shadow armor buffs melee attack speed, and the set bonus is movement speed. Necro armor buffs range damage, and set bonus is reduced ammo consumption. Then the jungle armor, maximum mana increased, magic crit chance increased, and set bonus is reduced mana usage. So that's pretty cool. Then there's a bunch of changes to magic items here. Some of them are pretty big. I'm not going to sort of go over every single one of them here, but you can have a look at that. A few item bug fixes here, nothing really huge. Then there's a bunch of interface changes, things like a new hotkey for grappling hooks, which is defaulting to E, very cool there. Then a bunch of other stuff, which in my opinion not that huge. There's a trash can option, which is quite cool. You can drop items in there to just destroy them, because I absolutely hate it when you want to throw an item out and you have to, then you accidentally keep picking it up again. That's what's really irritating, but you can now actually destroy them. Other than that, let's have a look. Going down, nothing special here. Misc options. New feature, critical hits. That's totally self-explanatory. New feature, damage types. Melee, range, and magic. Also pretty self-explanatory. Then, players will now heal automatically when not in combat. Basically, you get flagged as in combat, and when you're out of combat, then you can heal. The speed of the regen goes up over time. Also, same thing goes for mana, and if you're standing still, then your mana regen's faster, except the same thing just for casting and not being in combat. Anyway, new hairstyles. This is huge. The character creation options are pretty crazy. 19 new hairstyles. There's also an option for male and female now. This is for the character's voice, so you can use any hairstyle for either gender. That's cool. Then this is absolutely huge. Softcore, medium core, and hardcore characters. Yes, there's now a medium core. So on softcore, drops coins on death, keep HP and mana values. On medium core, drop all items on death and keep HP and mana values. On hardcore, you drop items and deletes your character on death, requiring you to start a new character. On death, you will become a ghost that cannot interact with the world until you log out. So you can just have a look at everything before you lose it. Great. Then there are a few game text changes. There's new music for the corruption area. Interesting. A few new sounds and stuff, which is quite cool, I suppose. Then there's a performance optimization for finding tile frames. And then world gen changes. Pretty big. There are now more gems in the jungle. Actually, these aren't pretty big. I'm joking. It's not that big at all. Let's have a look. No. That's it. So, they say at the end of the patch notes that this was the balancing and polish patch. So after this, work begins on the first true major content patch. 1.1, here we come. That sounds great. That sounds really, really good. And let me just say to you now, if you watch the rest of this video, you're going to have the full patch notes. So most of you can just stop watching here, unless you really, really want to hear every single little change, which I will cover for you. Have no fear. But I'm just saying it's unnecessary if you don't really care too much for that. You're going to hear a lot of doubles, because I actually recorded the full notes first, and I thought to myself, okay, this is way too long. I'm not going to make you guys suffer through all of this, but you have the choice to suffer. That's how nice I am. I do give you that choice. So that's going to be it. Thanks for watching. I'm definitely going to be creating a new world with this. I might even create a new Lumen. That's how keen I am for this. I really want to see what's going on with the new patch. I want to try it all out. I don't know. I might even make like a medium core character or something. I don't think I want to make hardcore, but I don't mind dropping items on death. It's going to make it that much more challenging for me. Sort of like Minecraft actually, which is quite cool. So I'm not sure when exactly I'll make that new world, but it will be pretty soon. Probably sometime this week, as I said. So check all those patch notes out, terrariaonline.com. And one last mention, Terraria is actually 50% off on Steam at the moment. Midweek Madness or something. It'll be on for a day or two, so if you don't have Terraria yet, if you're pretty interested in it, I mean, a lot of people out there actually haven't played it yet, and it's so cheap. I mean, with 50% off, how much is it? Let me have a look quickly. With 50% off, it's now only $4.99. That's incredibly cheap. I mean, that's ridiculously cheap for an amazing game that they keep updating, they keep working on. check it out. Okay, so if you've got Steam, you can get it over there, very, very cheap. But that's going to be it. Thanks for watching, and most importantly, happy Terraria in. If you've continued to this part of the video, you are in fact crazy and you want to listen to the full patch notes. That's it. I can't really say much more about that. I hope you listened to the first part because, you know, I did cover all my thoughts on it. I did tell you about the 50% off and all that stuff. But anyway, so here we go. New NPCs. There are a couple of new enemies. First up, the Spike Ball. This is an immortal enemy. I'm not even sure what that means, but it sounds quite scary. An immortal enemy would mean an enemy you can't kill, so that's bad. I'm assuming it's some sort of trap in the dungeon or something. I don't know. I haven't played anything since the patch came out, so all of this is new to me. Blazing Wheel, another immortal enemy. Then there's a Dungeon Slime, which contains golden keys. Also not sure what those are for, but that sounds really interesting. And Goblin Scouts. Those are the new enemies, or new NPCs as well. Then, NPC changes. Hornets in the underground dungeon now shoot stingers. These stingers have a 1 in 3 chance of poisoning their target for 10 seconds. Cursed skulls now have a chance to apply the cursed debuff. Bats, harpies and demon AI have been improved to prevent wall hugging. Slimes, when in water, will now turn around when they have nowhere to go. I suppose that's useful. It makes them look a little less silly. And excuse the fact that I'm really bad at reading. Anyway, so man-eaters and snatchers now have less HP and are drawn above the tiles rather than behind. That's really cool. I never knew where they were in the dungeons. Anyway, lava slimes no longer spawn lava when killed. That's great. Perfect. Meteor heads now move much slower but do a lot more damage. Also cool. Bone serpents have new death sound and their hitbox has been recalibrated. That's not something I don't know, care much for. So, big change here. NPCs' furniture requirements have been changed to work with new items. NPCs now require one comfort object. For example, a chair, throne, bench, bed, toilet. Toilet? Really? Okay. And one flat surface furniture item. That's a table, dresser, workbench, tub, bookcase. For a room to be complete before they will make it their home. And then that's pretty interesting. I mean, it's going to change the way you do things, definitely. Then thorns are now destroyed after you touch them and receive damage. I assume that also works in the corruption, jungle, you know, all those different types of thorns. Anyway, then NPC bug fixes. Eater of Worlds is no longer defeated when he flees. You shouldn't flee in the first place, damn it. That thing should just go until it kills you. NPCs that are far from home and try to turn to return home will no longer twitch left and right when stuck. Hornets are correctly now unable to enter water, and vultures should no longer float if the sand they are perched on falls from beneath them. Then the new items. There are a lot of these. Shadow Key, Golden Key, Shadow Chest. This requires a Shadow Key, obviously. And I'm assuming the Golden Chests require a Golden Key too. Obsidian background walls, mud background walls, jungle spore. This replaces jungle roses in former crafting uses, apparently. Tattered cloth, battle standard. Now this is an interesting one. Allows for manual starting of the goblin invasion. I wonder how difficult that is to craft. Very interesting. Piano, loom. The loom is apparently a crafting station, now required for crafting of most cloths from silk. A bench, a dresser, a bathtub, a red, green, blue, and yellow banner, well, all of those colors, lamppost, tiki torch, barrel, Chinese lantern, cooking pot, I'm not sure what the uses are there, a safe, which is apparently a separate private storage from the piggy bank. That's going to be a lot of different types of storage. A skull lantern, a trash can, a candelabra, a pink jar, a mug, a beer keg, beer, a bookcase, a throne, a bowl of soup, a toilet, a grandfather clock, and lastly a statue. That's very interesting. So, item changes. There are a lot of these as well. Wooden tables, doors, and workbenches now have improved looking graphics. I think you saw that in the picture at the start. Glow sticks prices are reduced, and they're now a bit brighter as well. Coins now leave a sparkly trail while moving. Jungle roses are now a rarer drop and no longer used to craft. Interesting. What are they then? Grappling hooks can no longer be spam shot. You must now wait until your previous shot lands or returns before you can throw another. I'm just giving you a moment to digest that. That's going to be crazy. Jeez. Flame Lash, Sun Fury, and Flower of Fire are no longer dropped. They are now found in shadow chests in the underworld. Ash and Mud no longer fall due to gravity. Hellstone no longer produces light and is more rare. Hellstone now spawns lava when it's mined, but only in the underworld. That's going to be painful. Cacti no longer cause knockback, making running through a desert less of a hassle. Potions now offer less hit points on use, and their cooldown is now a minute. Oh goodness. Things are just going to get a lot harder with this patch. Placing background walls is more simple, as one block holes are automatically filled in. Okay. Flails now have a different mechanic. You can spin them by pressing left and right fast over and over after they've been thrown down while holding the mouse button. That's very interesting. I want to test that out. Okay. All background walls are now considered house walls. Yes, even dirt and dungeon walls. 2 of the same type of accessories may no longer be equipped at once. Oh, shame. All the guys with the feral claw stacking, that's not going to work anymore. Fishbowl's recipe has been changed to require bottled water rather than just an empty bottle. Armors are now more class type specific, and their stats have been set accordingly. So, Meteor Armor, the buffs on that, buffs magic damage and set bonus. Space Gun, 0 mana cost. That's cool. Molten Armor, set bonus is melee damage. Okay, extra melee damage. Shadow Armor buffs melee attack speed and set bonus is movement speed. Necro Armor buffs range damage and set bonus is reduced ammo consumption. That sounds like a really cool one for me. Jungle Armor buffs maximum mana, magic crit chance, and set bonus is reduced mana usage. That's cool. That's really cool actually. The sets are now much more varied, I think. Several magic items and weapons have been rebalanced, including but not limited to Fire of Flower. Fire of Flower? Wasn't it Flower of Fire? Anyway, now does more damage and costs more mana. Band of Star Power now adds 20 to your maximum mana and no longer adds mana regeneration. Orb of Light now moves slower and is now listed as a buff, so you can remove it and see its remaining duration. Magic Missile is now quicker and it is launched when you release the mouse button rather than it disappearing. Flame Lash is now launched when you release the mouse button rather than disappearing. Okay. Meteor Armor and Molten Armor is no longer glow. Aww. Star Fury now does a bit more damage, requires more mana, and now works underground. If a star is spawned inside a wall, it'll be able to travel until it reaches an open space, then becomes solid, colliding with the next wall it hits. That's interesting. The Mini Shark now has a 33% chance that shooting the weapon will take no ammo, so it doesn't consume as much ammo. Doesn't take as much ammo to use, or whatever. That was a typo there. Anyway, flintlock pistols and muskets are now a bit stronger. I did think that the musket was pretty silly. So, item bug fixes. Bottled water can no longer be crafted standing near lava. Night Owl Potion now works correctly. Piggy Bank should no longer float when the ground beneath the table is removed from beneath them. Melee attack speed increase items are now calculated correctly. Cacti no longer destroy blocks as they grow. Okay. Then there are a few game interface changes as well. You'll obviously notice these the second you log in because everything looks a lot better. There's now an option to disable pickup text. A new hotkey for grappling hooks defaults to E. That's cool. So you don't need to use your hotbar for that. Really cool actually. Hotbar slots now show their hotkey number. The mana bar is now blue and text for gaining health is now green. Interesting. Interface boxes are now colored differently. Inventory is blue, equip is green, craft is purple, shops are brown, piggy banks and safes are pink, and there's actually 2 different shades for social and equipping. Anyway, it's quite interesting. Hotkeys for mana and healing potions now work correctly with rejuvenation potions too. Right-clicking on an accessory or piece of armor in your inventory will auto-equip it. These are just little niceties that make the game a little bit more pleasant to play, I suppose. Newly obtained items will now be placed starting in the bottom right of your inventory rather than the previous top left. There's now a trash can in the inventory. Placing an item in here will destroy it. However, the item will be saved in memory until another item is destroyed, allowing you to retrieve it if you wish. Holding shift and clicking item will move it to your trash can. Okay. That's also some bad typing. Anyway. When at a chest or piggy bank, there's now an option to loot all. This will take all the items inside the chest/bank if there's room. If not, it'll take all items starting from top left. There's also a quick stack option for the reverse effect. If the chest you are viewing has items stored in it that you are also carrying, this option will stack those items into the chest, combining stored and carried stacks. That is useful, so it's like an auto-arrange inventory function. Next up, when at a chest or piggy bank, there's now an option to deposit all. This will take all items not in your hotbars and, starting from the bottom right slot, place each item that will fit into the chest or bank. It will stop when the space runs out. That does make sense. It's no longer possible to drop items through the spaces between boxes in the inventory. Some tools now give you an idea in their tooltip what they can mine. Example, can mine meteorite. Okay, so that's just going to make it easier to see which pick can do what for new players, I suppose. There are now 4 ammo slots. Yes, that's good. Ammo may be placed here to declutter your inventory. Weapons will take ammo from these slots first and then take any ammo from your inventory after they are empty. Hotbar slots that have a ranged weapon on them will show the current ammo count on them. There's now a toggle in your inventory that when clicked will lock your hotbar and not allow you to change your currently used hotbar item by clicking it with the mouse. Only the 1 to 9 hotkeys and mouse wheel will scroll them at that point. Interesting. Okay. Hotkeys can now be used to change selected items when your inventory is open. Shops will now sell items back to you. Holding shift and clicking an item while at a shop will quick sell it. You can now quickly clear and cancel your chat message by hitting escape. New feature, critical hits. There's now a small chance that you will do more damage to an enemy. That's pretty self-explanatory there. Another new feature, damage types. Damage is now separated into melee, ranged, and magic damages. These will be used going forward for a few different systems, such as buffs, debuffs. Okay. Items will list what kind of damage they do in their tooltip, so you'll know what is affected by what buff. Players now heal automatically when not in combat. You are flagged as in combat when you are damaged by anything. The longer that you have spent after getting hurt will increase your HP regen speed slightly. I suppose that's a good mechanic. Once again, just making everything a bit more difficult. Mana recharges on its own when you are not casting. Slowly if you're moving and fast if you stand still. That's cool as well. Then, character creation changes. This is crazy. 19 new hairstyles. There's now an option for male and female. This is used for the character's voice. This way, any hairstyle can be used for either gender. When choosing your hairstyle, you may now right-click to cycle through the hair selections backwards. Very interesting little change there. Then one of the biggest changes in my opinion, there are now 3 difficulty modes that are set when creating a character. Softcore, medium core and hardcore. On softcore, drops coins on death, keep your HP and mana. Medium core, you drop all your items on death and keep your HP and mana. On hardcore, drop all items and deletes your character on death, requiring you to start a new character. I'm wondering, if you do that, does that mean you can actually go back and fetch your items? I don't know. Anyway, on death, you'll become a ghost that cannot interact with the world until you log out. Okay, very, very hardcore indeed. Then there's some game text changes which are pretty boring, corrected some spelling errors and other little things, added several new randomized game subtitle captions. Okay. MISC in the character creation color section has been renamed shoes. Then, music and sound, new music for the corruption area. There are new sounds for the following actions and events. Talking to an NPC, mana becoming full, also shows a purple sparkle on the player, using water bolt, flame lash and flower of fire, starting to drown. Then some sounds have a randomized pitch change, like swinging a sword, that make them have more variance. That's quite cool. Optimized finding tile frames, so worlds should now load faster. That's really good. That was under performance options. Then the last set of changes, world gen changes. More gems will spawn in the jungle. Hell houses now spawn differently. A world's hell houses can really spawn as all obsidian, and they can now get really tall. Okay. Underground jungles now have a mud background. Dungeons should no longer spawn in the ocean. I think some people will really like that change. Deserts now spawn slightly further away from the spawn. Dungeons now spawn with more spikes and less lighting. That's going to be crazy. Underworld ash is now filled with more lava pockets, making mining hellstone more of a challenge. Some items no longer spawn in the dungeon. These were meant for non-dungeon areas. That's it. That's all the changes. I hope you didn't watch all of this because it was crazy long. If you did, well done. Well done. Anyway, so thanks for watching once again, and check back here soon for more Terraria goodness.